Would you care to comment on what's the next 20 years of nanotechnology, or even 10 or 5, going to bring us, and what we might expect in the next 3, 5, 10?
Did my wife talk to you?
Sorry?
My wife. This was one of the worst moments of my life. It's kind of weird because this was run on CNN and they had a commercial every 2 minutes, so it kind of got a little cut up. But I was
broadcast around the world at the time.
Yeah, it was broadcast around the world. So I was, the conversation hadn't been directed at me, and I hadn't been paying much attention. And I was sort of nodding off there, and all of a sudden Jonathan Mann turns to me. I guess he noticed. And he says, Professor Curl, what will be the most significant developments in the field of chemistry in the next 20 years? And you talk about the deer caught in the headlights. But it was easy, before I could stutter out anything, Rick leapt in with nanotechnology.
I got to know Bob Curl about 5 years after joining the Rice faculty in 1967. And then in the early 80s, we started working together with Rick Smalley and Harry Kroto, who came to visit Rice as a guest of Bob Curl's because of his interest in diffuse interstellar carbon. So initially, Rick was very reluctant to use his super clean apparatus with dirty carbon when we were using semiconductor disks in that apparatus, but Bob convinced him. And of course, 3 years later, it led to the discovery of the Buckyballs. And then it took, I guess, 11 years to make it to the Nobel Prize.
Professors Curl, Kroto, and Smalley. It's a privilege and a great pleasure for me to congratulate on behalf of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, and I now ask you to receive your Nobel Prizes from the hands of His Majesty the King.
Robert Curl is 63, from Rice University. He's been there since 1958.
Bob is a Renaissance person with his own brilliance. The capacity to bring people together is evidenced by what he did in the Nobel Prize winning work. But he is also a genuinely nice person. And all of those are illustrated in an encounter we had shortly after he won the Nobel Prize. A small group of faculty was gathered outside Fondren, and Bob comes along with his notebook. After congratulating him, we inquire, what are you doing in the library at a time like this? And he says, I'm going to learn about slime in the ice machine. And we said, Marvin Zindler? And he said, yes, Marvin Zindler has invited me to meet with a group of HISD students and, among other things, explain slime in the ice machine. That illustrates more than perhaps any story I could tell the way in which Bob thinks of his own discipline. He wants to learn and know everything. He wants to reach out to others and be of service not only to people in this community at Rice, but in the community beyond. And he is a genuinely nice person.
So might you reflect briefly on how that night went later with the students?
I went to bed early. It was only 3.
Did it change either of you winning this prize in any fundamental way?
How would we know?